Good morning, everybody, or afternoon. Actually, I think it's about noon hour. It is Saturday, April 28th, and this is episode 20 of Loch BRIAR Knits, a knitting podcast coming to you from an extremely rainy, post-thunder lightning, Nova Scotia, Canada, where I live with my husband and our golden retriever, Cedar. And yeah, so welcome everybody. Welcome to returning viewers. Thanks so much for coming back, and all new viewers. Thank you for checking out the podcast. I hope you'll like what you see and come back again. And you can hit the, I always point at the wrong corner. I'm going to say this one. You can hit the like and subscribe button. Get the word out about the podcast by having it show up in the recommended feeds. And yeah, so I think that's it. There's really no administration other than where to find me, which is here. Instagram, I'll scroll down like where I'm at. Instagram, I'm at Kelly L. Boyce, and pretty much everywhere else is Loch BRIAR Knits. So there's a Ravelry group for the podcast, Loch BRIAR Knits, and my username on Ravelry is Loch BRIAR. And there is an Etsy shop where I sell my hand-dyed yarns, Loch BRIAR Knits, and also a Facebook page called Loch BRIAR Knits. So, keeping it easy. So today I am drinking, it's a David's tea, and I think it's called Love. It's either called Love Potion number 7 or Love Machine number 5 or something. But it's a black tea, and it's got kind of chocolate and strawberry, so it's pretty good. Yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad. It was a gift from a little while ago, but I don't know what the expiry date on teas are. Like anybody? I feel like I'm totally off my game today because I am still not sleeping. Like, if anybody who watched the last podcast, I'm going through some wicked insomnia, so I still feel like I'm kind of brain dead. So if I suddenly get the dead stares in the middle of a sentence, you'll know why. But I was all set to go like a couple hours ago to record. I was all set. I was coming down, and then boom, lightning and thunder extravaganza happened, and the power kind of flicked. So I'm going to put this down here. The power kind of flicked on and off. Some people lost their power, but ours just sort of like went out enough to knock the clocks out and then just right back on. But the thunder and lightning and the torrential downpour went on for quite some time. I gotta fix my... This, by the way, is Ooter. He's the podcast mascot because, you know, who doesn't need a pig? So, anyway, I was all ready to go, and then, you know, it got waylaid because I thought I don't want to be having anything plugged in during a lightning storm. Plus, if the power went out, I'd be podcasting in the dark because I'm down in the basement, and it was really dark outside, so I wasn't going to be getting much light from the windows. So it just felt like a lot of hurry up and wait this morning, and all of the plans we kind of originally had for today have sort of been thrown out the window a little bit because we got delayed, and then we were going to go to the summer house and try to get some more stuff cleaned and set up there because my father-in-law's furniture that he was sending down arrived the other day. But I think we're going to do that tomorrow. So anyway, it's a knitting podcast, people. And I was pretty monogamous this past 2 weeks because I was trying to I took part in the Helen Stewart Curious Handmade Mystery Knit Along of the Impressionist Shawl, and I pretty much, the thing is, and I don't want to say too much about the pattern, clearly, but when you get near the end, you have over 500 stitches on the needles. So that's a lot. I think that's probably the most that I have knit with. And it started to really feel like a bit of a slog. And if the pattern wasn't so beautiful, I may have just set it down and said, you know, I'm going to put this in a timeout because my hands are getting so sore and my wrists were getting sore. There was a lot of stitches on the needles and you just kept going and going and going. And I was like, oh my God, I've got to be close to the end. And you'd be like maybe a third of the way through it. And my hands are getting really sore. So I think on Thursday, I just put it in a timeout. I thought I'm just going to take a couple days off from it, which means I probably won't have it done this weekend. But as it turned out, I took a couple days off and I worked on my sweater. Yay! So yeah, so I oh my God, words, words, Kelly, words. So anyway, it went in timeout. And I worked on my sweater and then I went back to it. So I ended up finishing everything except for the bind off. And it calls for one kind of bind off. But here's the thing, and I don't want to give too much away, but the bind off it asks for is going to take a long time to do because I find that type of bind off is you feel like, you know, one step forward, two steps back, or two steps forward, one step back, whatever. So it takes a lot of time to do. And at this point, I really just want to get it done. And I also have to do a similar bind off in my Grocery Girl shawl, which I'm kind of at the same point in and sort of got set aside so that I could work on this one, but also set aside because I was not looking forward to doing that kind of bind off. And I love how the bind off looks. I just find doing it a slog. And after doing like the 500 plus stitches, I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can face it. So I saw somebody who had posted what they had done, and they had done a Russian bind off, which I haven't done before, but it's like kind of a super stretchier bind off. And I thought, I think I might do that because not only do I not want to kind of do the other bind off, I know trying to do the, oh my God, what do you call that? When I soak and block it, oh my God. When I block it, it's going to take, you know, you're going to have to like do a whole lot of little pinnings. So I don't want to do that. So I think I may do the Russian bind off because I do really like how it looked. And I think it'll be a little quicker. So, and that means I can probably finish it this weekend. Anyway, that's my story. So I'm going to show you what I've done on the Mystery Knit Along, but I'm going to wait until the end of the works in progress, just so that if you want to just skip right to the next section, you can do it, and I'll timestamp it so that there's no spoilers for anybody that's working on it or who plans to do it and doesn't want to kind of see yet what it looks like. So we're going to jump right in to whips, and I've got a hoe. Da-da-da. Look at this. Dun, dun, dun. I finished one sock. This one was on the needles for a little while. I think I may have started, oh wow, I think I started a while ago. And then they got set aside because I think it was before Christmas because I was trying to finish all of my Christmas sock knitting up. So I kind of set these aside. And at that point I was like to here. I do them cuff down. So I was about to here. And then I set it aside. And then I kind of had some other socks in the go and I was trying to finish them. So I finally picked these up this week and it shows the color pretty good here, but what it doesn't really show is that these spots here are super neon. They're like super neon green, and the socks are awesome. The yarn is from Cottage, which I think is a Canadian dyer. I think. I could be wrong, but I don't know if I have the tag or not. But I have quite a bit. Oh, here, I can grab it out of here. I have quite a bit of their yarn. Where's my glasses? So I don't know if it says on here where they're from or not. I think that they are a Canadian dyer, but I could be totally wrong. And I don't know that this had a specific colorway, because what they have is, this is Snowflakes and Starfish collection, which this was a part of. I don't know which part, Snowflake or Starfish, this was, but I love this. I love this sock. It's awesome. So these are for me, and I just did, again, I do mine from the cuff down, just a straight up vanilla sock. I did kind of goof here. I dropped a stitch. I don't know if you can see. So right here I kind of dropped a stitch, and then I was just using the crochet hook to sort of bring it back up, because I was about 4 rows back from where the dropped stitch was. But then I sort of goofed when I pulled it up. I think I came over like 2 rows instead of looping it through 1, but you know, it's a vanilla pair of socks. I'm wearing them. I don't care. I usually drop a stitch in my socks somewhere, so you know, whatevs. But I did my usual. There we go. Eye partridge heel, and the cuff is, this one's actually shorter than what I usually make it. That's probably maybe just a little more than an inch. And then just my sort of rounded toe. I go until I have 12 stitches left on each needle on the magic loop, and then I just do a Kitchener stitch. That's that. That's my vanilla sock. So that's my hoe. Yeah, half finished up. So I still have the other one left to do. My Impressionist, oh my god, my Impressionist shawl. I feel a repeat of last episode coming on. That's my mofo, which I think is what Tommy from Squirrel Pie Productions calls it, the mostly finished object. But where is it here? Hang on. My Puntilla sweater and my loop bag. Still have not looked for my pins. I keep forgetting to. I forget until I kind of get down here, and then I was like, oh yeah, I was going to do that. I have no idea where they'd be, though. I have no idea. Anyway, so this is the Puntilla sweater from Joji Locatelli, and I am knitting this in Illimani Eco-Llama. So it's 100% baby llama, and I was talking, I think it was last episode, how I was saying that I felt like it was super slippery on my Haya interchangeables. And I was thinking about ordering like a Luca needle in the size that I needed, but then I was kind of looking at the prices. I don't know what the deal was, but all the ones I was looking at were like, these was crazy expensive. So I was like, nah. And now that I'm further ahead, I'm perfectly comfortable with the high highs. So I'm going to try to do this without actually knocking any stitches off. But you'll notice, ta-da, as soon as I get it up where it's supposed to be, and not drop anything off it. La da 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 da. Look, I've joined. I am now in the body. So basically right now I'm just straight across, and I'm not gonna try this on because why do I say that and then I go and do it? It's making a lovely cowl. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to poke my arms through. Anyway, when I'm a little further ahead, I'll give her a go. But I think I have completely, here's the front. Oops, there we go. Gotten over my fear of sweaters. So I went and I sort of was reading the rest of the pattern, and I was like, yeah, okay, it all makes sense to me. So I think the difference was, oops, when I went down to my local yarn store, The Loop, and I had Mimi help me with one bit of the pattern that I just wasn't understanding, and she sort of drew out the construction of what I was looking at and what I was doing next, and it made suddenly just, I don't know, it just seemed to unlock something. So yeah, people, I am so excited. I am going to put a serious dent in that since our plans to actually go out to the house got put on hold. I'm going to put a serious dent in the body of this and try to get as much done as possible so then I can move on to the sleeves. I did order a 12-inch circular needle in the size that I need for the sleeves. And I hope that's the right size. I think 9-inch is going to be too small. I think I need the 12-inch. So I've ordered that off of Amazon in the Chagu circular. So I've made a lot. I think, well, I wasn't joined the last time. I was still working on, I think I was working on the back. So I did a little on this morning. I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm just so happy to actually be at this stage that the idea of just sitting there doing a bunch of stocking net stitch is, yeah, perfect. And so that's that. And then when I get to the trim, I'm going to be doing the trim in the contrasting color will be this one. So I'm really looking forward to working on that today. I should probably do the bind off, but I'm going to hold off, I think, and work on that tomorrow, and then get that done tomorrow and soak it and then lay it out to dry, because that's going to, I think that might take a little while. Oh, I need my pattern. So that's my whips in progress, and really I've been pretty monogamous with the Impressionist Shawl. So this may be a short episode because I really don't have a whole lot to talk about. So what I'm going to do now, after I drink some of my Love Machine tea, is I'm going to show the Impressionist Shawl. So if you don't want any spoilers, look away. And what I'll do is I'll timestamp when we jump to the next section. Okay? So, yeah, try to remember the bag. Another loop bag. So look away. Look away. Spoiler alert. That's my spoiler alert. Ta-da. So, I have to say, I love as much of a slog as the last kind of part felt like. I think part of it too was my hands getting sore, which was a bit of a drag. But also I'm just so anxious to have it off the needles and wear it. So it could have been a little bit of impatience. So I'm totally tangled in my yarn here. So see if I got the right side. This side. I'm gonna really try again not to drop the stitches. So I have most of my ends woven in except for kind of this last section where I broke the yarn and I should have just carried it at one point, which so now I've got a couple extra ends to weave in. But this thing is going to be mammoth in size, I think. So I can't even stretch it out on the needles without knocking it off the needles. But I love how the colors work together. So, right, so let's see. Here's what. So color number 1, which is this color here, is Sweet Briar, which is one of my yarns from Loch BRIAR Yarns. And then this one here is Peppermint Bark from Cakewalk Yarns. And then this one is Clover from Lichen and Lace. So I love the pattern. I did goof. There were supposed to be eyelet rows. And I don't know. I don't know how I screwed that up. But somehow I managed to just totally skip over that altogether. So yeah, so I just have the bind off, and I think I am going to do the Russian bind off because I've seen a couple people who didn't do the pattern bind off, and just the straight edge looks really good. So I really like that, and I like the idea of it being easier. So this is going to, I've seen some of them blocked out too, and it's a good size. It's going to be perfect for spring, which has finally arrived here. It was so nice all week. We had one day where it was like, I think, super rainy, and the other days were all like 15, 18, and sunny, and it was just gorgeous. Now today is torrential rain, lightning, and thunder, and all next week is supposed to be rain apparently. So, you know, that's what happens when you live next to the ocean. So that's it. I don't know, I really don't know what else to say about this. I don't want to say too much, but in case you just looked away and are waiting for me to shut up so you can come back. But I do. I love the colors I chose. I'm really glad that I swapped out my planned color for the Clover, because I don't think this would have looked anywhere near as good. This looks way better with the other colors and picks up the other tones from them. So I'll use that other one for something else. But yeah, this is gorgeous. I love it. I love it. So that is it. That's it for whips. That's my semi-monogamous knitting week. And you know what? I have to say, I don't like being a monogamous knitter. Maybe that was part of the thing too, where I just had to kind of put it in a timeout and work on something different, was just the freshness of working on a different project. I really like having a few projects on the go, and then you have kind of a choice. Like, maybe you don't feel like working on a shawl. Maybe you want to work on a sweater. So I like the idea of having like a couple pairs of socks, a shawl, and a sweater. I don't know if you can hear that thumping around up there. The dog just jumped off the couch where he was sleeping so he could go down on the floor right in front of the couch and sleep. He's been dreaming up a storm the last few nights. He literally woke my husband and I up. He usually sleeps, he doesn't sleep on the bed with us because he's a golden retriever and he's 80 pounds and he hogs the bed. Like, he literally shoves everybody else out of the way. So, and then he sleeps like widthwise on the bed, not lengthwise, not curled up in a nice little ball. No, he stretches out widthwise so that our legs are dangling off either side of the bed, and we're lucky if we have room to put our head in the pillow. So he sleeps. We put out a comforter at the bottom of the bed when we go to sleep, and he usually sleeps in that. He would rather sleep in the bed, but there's just no room, man. And anyway, so the last few nights he has been like, he's woken us up. Well, he's woken my husband up. I'm not sleeping, so I'm generally awake anyway. But and he was kind of like barking and yelping, and he was kind of making this sound. It was a good imitation. And his legs were going. I don't know what. I would love for them to invent a machine where I can see what the dogs are dreaming, because it fascinates me. Anyway, that's my story. I don't know where I was going with that. Tangent! So, that was it for whips. That's all I have. But once I finish the Impressionist shawl, I'm just going to jump in and finish off my Grocery Girl shawl, my second one, because, and again, I'm almost at the border. So I think on this one I have probably about another 2 inches to knit. Did I say you could come back? Oh, sorry. That sounded rude. I mean, did I say it's okay to come back for the, what the heck is going on with my hair? It's okay to come back. The Impressionist shawl is going away. Ugh, Kelly. Get some sleep. So anyway, Grocery Girl shawl. So this is all being all knit out of lichen and lace. And I decided to go with like a nicely muted palette of, I know, shocking, gray, more gray, and then some green. But I literally only have, I think, maybe this much more to do, and then the bind off. So once I get the bind off done for the Impressionist shawl, I'm going to jump in and finish this off so I can get this off. I'm going to have all kinds of shawls for spring. So yeah, so I'm going to do that. No, this wasn't the girl from the grocery store. This was the Free or Fade. Sorry. I do have a girl from the grocery store. That one is upstairs. You know what? Have I been calling this the girl from the grocery store shawl all along? Have I? Is it? No. It is the Free or Fade. Oh my God, people. I don't know. I can't remember what I called it. It's the Free or Fade. Anyway. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to getting this one off as well, because I love the muted colors on it. And I like that I went with some kind of brighter pops of color in the Impressionist cowl, because I think it'll kind of give like a nice, you know, if I'm feeling a little muted, I'll wear this. I want a little pop of color, I'll throw on the other one. And then I do have my Grocery Girl, my girl from the grocery store shawl upstairs, which is kind of pinks and purples, which weirdly seems to be my go-to with shawls, apparently. What else? Oh, so works. Nope. Queue. What's in the queue? So I had mentioned last episode that I had now wanted to do all of the sweaters, and I was going on about how I think I said I didn't really have that much of sweater quantities, and then I sort of counted out and realized I do. And then I couldn't find this burgundy yarn that I had that was like, I got a whole unboxed in, people. So I have my Daydream sweater from Heidi Kiermaier here. So anyone who's watched the podcast, yeah. This has been languishing because I was freaked out and I was making mistakes. So I'm actually going to frog what I have now that I sort of understand where I was making mistakes and I'm a little more comfortable with the construction and what I need to do. And really, I'm not that far along, so it's not like I'm frogging that much. But this is, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, and I'm totally blanking. Oh, so the yarn I'm using on this is Silky Wool, and that's Designer's Choice. So it is, I don't know what it is because I don't have my glasses on. It is 45% wool, 35% silk, 20% nylon. So anyways, I'd also bought this same yarn, a sweaters quantity in burgundy. So last episode, I remembered that I had bought it. I could not find it anywhere. I did finally find it. It was over there. I don't know. And oddly enough, it's over there in a basket that's labeled project designated. Well done. So all my organization, and I was outdone by stupidity. So anyway, I'm going to undo that one and start again. And I did find the sweaters quantity in the burgundy. So I also had a sweaters quantity in Quince Co in the Finch base in the wasabi color. But as I'm going through my stash, I realized I do have a fair amount of sweaters quantity. So the other thing I found, and I have like all of these. I have a, I know, look, it's gray. So I have a bunch of these. Like, I mean, I probably have 10 of these 50-gram balls. I have 8 easy. I have no label. It feels like a superwash merino wool. But I'm pretty sure I have enough for a sweater's quantity. And then I also have a couple that are in different colors, but the same kind, like a couple in sort of a green, which apparently is my other go-to color. And I think there was a couple that were in burnt orange. So I don't know. These have been in my stash for a long time. I have no labels on any of them because I caked them all up and then thought, well, they're all caked up. I don't need to keep the labels. This was back before I really knew what I was doing with knitting. So I've got some of that, but I wanted to start the Weekender next for 2 reasons. Number one, I really want to knit the Weekender because I love that sweater. It's just like, style-wise, that's my thing. That's the kind of sweater I love. I like sweaters with a bit of give to them that have like fair bit of positive ease. I love a boxy sweater because I usually wear like a t-shirt under my sweaters or whatever. So I don't know. I just like the look of it. So anyway, I thought, okay, I'm going to do the Weekender next. But I'm reading the pattern and it's worsted weight. And I of all of this sweater quantities of yarn I have, not one of them was worsted weight. So I thought, ah, shoot, I'm going to have to place an order at Quince Co. Damn. So I did. So we're briefly going to move into acquisitions. And this is the only, no, this is not the only. In my defense, when I bought the sweaters quantity of Quince Co., I needed somewhere to store it. And the Loop had just received some new bags. And I say received, it's actually Mimi's, the owner, and her mom makes these bags. And they are stunning. So this one I loved because it's like cocktail hour, people. So I saw it on Instagram when she posted it. And all I was good thing of was I gotta get down there before somebody else gets their hands on this because I love it. So it's got this nice kind of stripy tan beigey inside to it. The bottom is like a canvasy material. Is that the right word? But, and then it just drawstrings. You got the handles. Honestly, I have how many of these bags now? 4? I think so. I think I have 4 of them. Anyway, I love them. I'm probably going to buy more. I'm not going to lie. Every time I see a design on them that I like, I bought my mom one with bees on it because my mom loves bees. But now my mom's starting to knit up a storm. I literally, here's a story. Total segue. Which has nothing to do with acquisitions. It does have something to do with acquisitions. So, we bought the curtains for the summer house, and we got those long ones. You put them on the steel rod. They're beautiful curtains, go from like kind of ceiling to floor. Bought them all at IKEA. We got the same kind for all of the windows, just to pull it all together. So there was 10 curtains. But the thing is that they're probably about this much too long. So I don't sew yet. I am going to get to it. I am. That's my project for the summer. I'm going to literally take my sewing machine out to the summer house and then work on trying to learn how to use it. Total other segue. But in the meantime, I have 10 curtains that need to be hemmed, and I don't sew. Now, my mom hemmed the ones here for me. So I thought, I will bribe my mother. Because the day before we hung the curtains, and I realized, yeah, they definitely are going to need to be hemmed. My mom called me up and left me a message on my phone saying, or no, she called me up on the phone and said that I have an idea of what you can get me for Christmas because, you know, it's May and this is when we start Christmas shopping. She and I start early. Everybody else starts, I think, the week before. So she said, I need like Addy needles in this size and this length needle, or this length cord. Because she had always used kind of the older style knitting needles. She'd probably had these things for like 20 years or more. The ends weren't very sharp. She was trying to knit socks because I had got her started on the magic loop. So I said, when I got her started in the magic loop, I bought her a pair of Addies. So she was just like, suddenly it was a whole new world open to her, and now she wants all the Addies. And she also likes the Knitter's Pride. So anyway, she said, if you can get me these 2 Addie needles for Christmas, that would be great because I have all of these socks and I really want, you know, I want to knit all of the socks now and blah, 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 blah. So then we went to the house and I realized I needed the curtains hemmed. And I thought, Christmas is a long time to wait to knit those socks. So I went up to the house to see my mom and I said, you know what? I have a proposition. If you will hem my 10 curtains, I will buy you those needles and I will give them to you early. And that'll be your payment for doing the curtains. So she was all for that. She said, okay, so I'll bring them up kind of 2 at a time, so I'm not like showing up with a stack of 10 curtains. I got her to agree to it, and I said, that's great. By the way, there's 10. So I may have to give her some yarn just to sweeten the deal a bit, but she's going to do that. Anyway, so that was one of my purchases. The other purchase was the bag. And the other purchase was what goes in the bag, which is a sweater's quantity of Quince Co Lark. So this is in their Fjord base, and I love this color. And I had never used, I've never used the Quince Co. I haven't knit with it yet. I've got the sweater's quantity in the Finch, which is for, I think I was going to do the easy one sweater with that. So that one, the Finch, I'm trying to remember the mix of that, but it's nice and soft. So this one is 100% American wool. So I was a little worried because any kind of like scratchy wool makes me break out into hives. So if I were to wear that, it would just be like Hive City. Not attractive. So I was a little worried, but then I was kind of reading like what people said and stuff like that. It seemed like it was actually like a softer yarn, and it is. Like, it's not like super soft, but you can tell it's 100% American wool. But it's nice and soft. It doesn't bother me. It has the feel of once you soak it and block it, it's going to be even softer. So I think this is going to make a beautiful weekender. So I can't wait for that. Yeah, and then so that was my acquisition, and that's also, I think the weekender is what's going to be next, because Moira from Knitting and Stitches podcast is doing a Mowry along, and this would be perfect for it. So I think the Mowry along is running until, I think we had quite a bit of time. So enough time that I should be able to get this done, depending on how fast I can get the Puntilla done. But this is also worsted weight, so it's going to knit up a lot quicker than the Puntilla. Well, which I can't remember if I said the Puntilla is by Joji Locatelli. Everything I'm knitting right now, I think, is either by Joji Locatelli or Andrea Mowry. Oh, and well, Helen Stewart. Helen Stewart's the breakout. So that's going to be next on my list for sweaters. I'm clearly all about the blues lately. So this is just a 100% superwash merino. I want to make myself a kind of a lacier spring slouch hat. Just, my hair likes to frizz, and when you're by the ocean, it's, you know, a lot of saltwatery air, and if your hair frizzes, even if your hair doesn't frizz, if you're by the salt water, it probably will. So if I lived out in Calgary, I would probably have these beautiful wave and some curls here. But because when I let my hair dry naturally, that's what I get. I get kind of like waves, and then around the face is sort of more like the curls. But then the air gets to it and it just gets frizzy. So I can curl my hair on a good day with the flat iron and make it look the way I think it should look if it dried on its own. But the thing is when you go, we get a lot of rain in the spring. We get a fair bit of rain anyway because we're right by the ocean. But I find that if I wear like a slouch hat, I don't know if it's just like, it just protects it, or I don't know what it is. It just, it holds the heat in from your head and it relaxes the hair. I don't know what kind of mojo, magic, voodoo goes on. But when I wear a hat, my hair looks fantastic when I take the hat off. So I thought for the spring, because my other ones are, I have a few of the sockhead slouch hat. I love that pattern, but I would like to do kind of a lacier version, just so it's a little cooler for the spring, and get that done. And this says the color is heron gray, but that's blue. And it's super fine fingering weight, 100% merino. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for what's in the queue. There's not really and acquisitions. That's about it. So I think this is going to be a shorter episode. Anyway, I think I just sprayed tea on me. What else? I'm checking my house notes. Checking my show notes. Oh, so shop news. Here's what I'm doing. I am probably, did I do an April? Yeah, I did do an April. Yes, I did a short, small kind of April update with just some new colorways I was trying out. But the next thing that I want to do is there's a couple of new techniques that I want to try. And so I'm probably going to spend the next few weeks sort of kind of playing around. So you may see some skeins kind of pop into the shop randomly, but my plan is that I just want to get some, I just want to try some new things out. So there may be some other tester skeins that turn out well, and I will put those in the shop. But the other thing that I've done right now is I need to kind of clear out some inventory because I only have so much storage space here. And so I kind of went through and I looked at some of the colorways and stuff, and I pulled a bunch of them out of the regularly priced lots and I put them in a sale. So if you go to the if you go to my Etsy shop, which is here, there is a batch of skeins that are $20. So there's, I think there's 13 skeins left, last time I checked, that are still in the $20 sale batch. The other thing I've done is I've lowered my shipping cost. Here's the thing. For me to ship, I'm in Canada. For me to ship anywhere in Canada cost me at least $16, usually between $16 to $18, $19. And that's like for one skein. One skein's usually around $16, $17, which is ridiculous. If I ship it to the US, it usually costs about $10. So it's crazy. It's ridiculous. I've kept it as low as I can. I've lowered it a bit. Like I have issues like charging, because I know I complain every time I go to the post office to mail a package. I'm like, can't believe it costs that much to mail it. So yeah, it costs more to mail it within my own country than it does to mail it to the US. So I've knocked it down to 11, and the US is 10. So that, I think, is about it. Randomness, there's not too much going on. We had planned on going out to Summer House to just sort of get the things set up from my father-in-law, the stuff he sent down. But I think we're going to do that tomorrow, and we've got a couple errands we have to run this afternoon, so it's nothing exciting. But it's just one of those rainy days. I just want to sit in, relax, and knit. And that's about it. So I think that's, I'm going to run the errands really quickly, come back, knit. I've got to take an Etsy order up to the post office to ship off. But I think that's about it. I think that's really all that's going on this weekend. I'm really looking forward to getting everything finished at the summer house so that we can finally kind of get out there and use it. We still have to get the Wi-Fi set up. Yeah, I think that's probably about it. I think that's really kind of the only major thing we have left to do. And I think I need another cup of coffee. I feel like I'm really losing steam and it's only about 1 o'clock. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I'm hoping, oh, I've got yarn fiber in my eye. Anyways, I'm hoping that next time I'm going to have a couple of finished objects for you and have a lot of progress made on the sweater and maybe even a couple of new cast-ons, who knows? Because monogamous knitting is not my thing, clearly. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I will see you again in a couple weeks. To all the new subscribers, thank you so much for coming back. All of the new subscribers, I hope you weren't scared off by my disjointed blathering and tangents. I will sleep again someday. Anyways, hit the like button. It helps get the word out. I really appreciate it. So if you like the episode, you know, give it a thumbs up. If you want to know when the next episodes come out, hit the subscribe button and you'll get notified. It'll just pop up in your feed. And I think that's it. So until I see you guys next, happy knitting, and we'll see you soon. See ya.